friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell from the title, it's all about books by Filipino authors that you guys can pick up in next month, which is Asian American Pacific Islander month. So let's just kind of But yeah, like I said, it's next month is AAPI month, which is Asian American Pacific Islander month. There are a couple of readathons involving, I believe Cindy with Reads with Cindy runs a pretty good like Asian readathon. So if you guys are looking for books that are centered around Asians, that you guys want to broaden what kind, like I guess the kind of Asian that you read, here are some books by Filipino authors as we are starting to rise up and kind of find a comfortable place in the literary world. 5 of these books I have read, and then 5 I do plan on picking up. One of them actually does come out next month. I will definitely be running to that store and buying it because like it is necessary in my life to have it in my hands and review it and give this author, this debut author I believe, so much clout because she deserves it. But let's just get into it, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the choices that I have offered you guys, and we can read them together, or you guys can read them next month and tell me what you guys thought. Before I start with the books that I have read, I'm going to start off with the book that is coming out next month, and that is Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. This is an adult kind of rom-com slash mystery book, as you guys can tell by the title. This follows a young girl named, I believe, hold on, I'm looking at the thing because like it's easier for me to remember synopses when I have the book in my hand, but then when I don't, I just kind of scramble. This follows young Laila Macagapal, who after a breakup moves back to the Philippines, and it seems like it's just kind of like a typical rom-com, you know? She wants to get over her boyfriend, but suddenly she's tasked with helping save her family's like restaurant, while also having to deal with her titas running around and bugging her and like trying to play matchmaker. That is until one day when she runs into her ex-boyfriend, and shortly after that encounter, her ex-boyfriend drops dead. And soon what becomes like a cute little rom-com turns into an Agatha Christie novel, as all investigators look to her as the only suspect in his murder. And since no one's getting the job done, she decides to take matters into her own hands and goes ahead and tries to figure out who killed her ex-boyfriend. I'm super excited for this. Like, for one, like, look at this cover, it's just gorgeous, and two, it's a new release. It's a debut author, and it looks like it'll be a super entertaining read, and I'm just so excited, but I'm trying not to hype it up too much in my head, just to give the book some room to breathe. And so I'm not expecting way too high of expectations for a debut author, because I always try to give debut authors a little bit of slack, since it is their first book, it's their baby, and you're still trying to figure out your own writing and everything. The next book are Now moving on to the books that I have in fact read. The first one is one that I've mentioned quite frequently on this channel. I read a couple of years ago and it has just stuck with me, and that is The Everlasting Nora by Marie Miranda Cruz. This is Marie Miranda Cruz's first debut novel, and it's a middle grade novel. Hint. So got a wide array here. Following young Nora, who is trying to make sense of her world after she and her mother loses both her father and their home in a fire. They are now living in one of Manila's biggest shanty towns, which, if you guys are unaware, are small kind of communities built in cemeteries. That is where they make their home. And as she's trying to make sense of what home means to her and try to overcome the shame of no longer having a home, of having lost her father, her mother goes missing, and she is now tasked with the job of finding out what happened to her mother, while also just trying to make sense of this very confusing time in her life. Trigger warnings for this book: there is like loss of a spouse, loss of a parent, parental gambling, physical assault, kidnapping. I think that's all I can say that I remember. But like in all my videos, I'll try to have updated trigger warnings in the description or in the Goodreads if I have read the book. I love this book. I love this book. I love that it's a middle grade novel that is dealing with harder hitting topics that are currently still ongoing today in the Philippines. I believe the author had based Nora off a young girl she actually did meet in the Philippines, who actually did live in a shanty town, who under different circumstances did not see the same fate as Nora at the end of this book. I highly recommend it. It's such a quick and easy read, and it's so good because it integrates a lot of like the culture of the Philippines, a lot of the languages and like the little nuances of it, while also showing this kind of side where a child has to grow up very quickly in this world that she really didn't ask to be put into. The next one I literally finished on the car ride home from my trip with my boyfriend last week, and that is Monsters by Leslie Tenorio. This is an anthology of short stories by Leslie Tenorio following Filipinos and kind of their relation to America. We have a couple of more contemporary situations and a few of historical fiction pieces in here as well. I highly recommend it. It kind of looks into a lot of the problems in trigger warnings for this short story collection. There is death, there's kind of like very illegal medical procedures going on, some transphobia happening in this book as well, and what else? Death. I'll just stick with death. I highly enjoyed this book. I mean, I read it in the span of like literally 2 days because one, I read it in my boyfriend's suite while we were like relaxing after our hikes, and then on the way home. So not that hard. It's a very quick and easy read. I say it does a really nice job of hitting points, some of the more nuanced points of the Philippines and some of the darker bits of our history and our own culture. But it's done poignantly and without making it seem like we're a terrible place or terrible people. It's done very humanly. A lot of the characters feel very human. But with that said, there were a couple of short stories that I didn't quite resonate with or didn't really catch my eye. But I feel like that's kind of the case with a lot of short story collections. There's always a hit or miss with them, and like no one really ever has a short story collection where you're like, yes, I love all of them. It's just the way of the beast. But I highly recommend it if you guys are looking more into kind of seeing just some different views on the Philippines and like the familial aspect and like our views on certain things and some of the trials that we had to go through as we kind of have endured, like coming to America, losing family members who have come to America, abandonment, all that stuff. The next one is a pretty recent read of mine. My friend Connor just read it for a video of his, so I will leave his video linked down below. I'm glad he really enjoyed it, but that is Patron Saints of Nothing by Randy Rebay. This is a YA contemporary novel following young Jay, who is in his senior year of high school. He just wants to coast. He's in his last semester. He just wants to enjoy it before he goes off to University of Michigan. That is until he hears news that his cousin and his only friend who really understood him when they lived in the Philippines has died. And not just passed away from an illness, he was killed by the cops due to now unsure as to why the situation has happened to him, and kind of trying to figure out and make sense of his cousin's obvious murder. He uses his spring break, which is like I think 1 or 2 weeks, and travels back to the Philippines to visit Jun's family and learn more about the about the problems that are currently happening in the Philippines, such as the drug war that President Duterte has enacted. This is a very hard-hitting book. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Like, I love this book. It's one of my favorites, but I gave it a 4 because of the ending. I feel like the ending was just a little weird to me. But this is very hard-hitting. Obvious trigger warnings for death, murder, police brutality, toxic, mentions of drug use and drug abuse. I believe there's some hints of trafficking. It's just a hard bit, and I think that this book was done really in terms of showing how important family is to the Filipinos, how culture and food is also very important to this, and tradition, as well as explaining the kind of rougher bits of life that's currently still ongoing in the Philippines today with the drug war, and how that's affecting not only the people but then the families that are around them, because it's a very hard thing to talk about, considering people in the Philippines do find that this war is actually helpful to them, while it's very clearly not. And I highly recommend this book, but please be in the right mindset when you do pick it up, because it does hit on some very hard topics. I think the prose is beautiful. The book is done in a way where it's very simplistic, but it covers all the hard-hitting topics without missing a beat, and you don't feel like that they're just glossed over. So I highly recommend the book if you have not picked it up yet. Should be a good time for AAPI month. The next one is an adult fantasy, so look at me giving y'all a variety, and that is The Wolf of Oreñaro by K.S. Veloso. This is K.S. Veloso's first series and trilogy, actually, and this follows Talian as she tries to kind of pick up the remains of not only her marriage but then also her country. Because of the day she was coronated, she murdered a man and then exiled her king, her husband, that same day, leaving her with their now 10-year-old child. So now she's traveling to the country to find out how she can repair her relationship with her husband and also hopefully bring her country back together. Love this book. It was definitely a lot. There's a lot of trigger warnings, lots of death, lots of implications of sex trafficking and potential sexual assault. Just a lot. Attempted murder. I love this series. I think a lot of the political, TB mentioned it in his review, but it looks like a bit more action-packed than it actually is. I believe the second book does get a bit more to the action, but this is a bit more political intrigue as it's setting up kind of the world and the main plots that will continue to carry forward in the next 2 books. I love this book. It was written so well, and you can see, I don't know a lot about Filipino mythology or pre-colonial Philippines, primarily because I just haven't studied it quite yet. I need to do more research on it. But according to the reviews, it is based off of some Filipino myths and as well as pre-colonized Philippines. So highly recommend it if you guys are wanting to take a more fantastical look into maybe how the Philippines had looked before, you know, Spain, Japan, America came in and, you know, ruined us. Highly recommend this. Definitely, like I said, it's a bit of a slower read because there's a bit more political intrigue, but how it's written definitely picks up in some bits, so you are able to pick it up and just kind of continue reading and you won't get bored. Highly recommend. The last book of the ones that I have read is Where Dreams Descend by Janela Angeles. This is a YA high fantasy novel following young Kalia, who is a fire dancer, and she wants to partake in a competition that's pretty male dominated. However, her handler, I guess, or mentor, does not want her to, so she takes matters into her own hands and runs away and joins the competition. There's mystery and some kind of darker path, darker thing happening around this competition. This is one of my first reads of 2021, one of my favorite books so far of 2021. The prose is absolutely marvelous. It's descriptive without taking away too much of your imagination. The main characters are pretty fleshed out. I did have some problems with it, primarily with the pacing. I feel like some aspects could have been switched, primarily with the mystery and the romance as to where they were placed. And then I felt like when things started happening and, you know, people were hurt and went missing, those characters were not fleshed out enough to really have me feel something for them. But I'm really, this is her debut, so like I said earlier in this video, I'm gonna cut her a little bit of slack because, you know, debut novels are they're not the rough cut, but they're the base of where an author can grow from here. And I think this is a really good base for Janela Angeles to be on, and I highly recommend it, and I cannot wait for the sequel, which I believe comes out this year. The next book is by another Filipino author, and that is Wicked As You Wish by Rin Chupeco. This is the first book in a series following young Tala as she is kind of guarding the last magic user in the kingdom of Avalon. There, he's currently hiding out in Arizona because he's the last remaining relative of this magical dynasty. Now, with kind of magic being gone, the two must travel back to Avalon with their friends to figure out exactly what is going on. I read the first chapter a while ago for how do you write a first chapter writing review. I really enjoyed the first chapter. It was so captivating and so funny and energetic, and while also setting up the world building. I cannot wait to pick this up very soon. I need to. Rin Chupeco's been on the top tier, the top of my list of Filipino authors to pick up, but I keep forgetting. The next month, Rin Chupeco will be also one of the books that I pick up when I go buy Arsenic and Adobo. The next one is The Farm by Joanne Ramos. According from my roommate who has read the book and has loved it, this is a medical dystopia following this this place called The Farm, where young pregnant women can live there, and they have to stay there for the entirety of their pregnancy. When they're done, they end up with a life-changing kind of scenario happening. Now, Jane, an immigrant from the Philippines and also a single mother, attends the farm in hopes of alleviating some of the pain and the struggles that come with being a pregnant woman in this day and age. However, as the months pass, she finds herself wanting to reconnect with her old life, but she does not want to, risk losing the benefits that come with the farm or potentially incur a worse punishment. This book sounds amazing and my friend loved it, so I have to pick it up sometime soon. I believe it's always in our secondhand bookstore, and I always need to go there, but I always forget, which is weird because it's right around the corner. So Hopefully I'll be picking it up soon. It is one of my, I believe I have it under top 10 5-star recommendations for this year, so I kind of have to pick it up at this point. The next book is Once Upon a Secret by Tiff Marcelo. This is an adult contemporary romance, following Diana Gallagher Carey, who is kind of trying to find herself and wants to reconnect with her long-lost family in the Philippines. When she moves back, she finds these letters from her grandma and her grandfather when they first, fell in love. And she starts to read them and kind of not only starts to find herself, but also kind of redefines what she's always viewed as love. It looks super cute and fluffy, and I love myself a good contemporary romance to kind of break away the monotony of all of the fantasy. Not that fantasy is monotonous, but all the world, having to digest the world building, that kind of stuff. Super excited to pick this up. I think it should be out. I want to say it was a 2020 release. Let me double check. It came out basically a year ago, March 3rd, 2020. So super excited to pick this up. I don't know when. It looks like a cute summer read, so I might just have to buy it as a good birthday present to myself in June. Maybe. So we'll see. And the last book is actually a mystery thriller, murder mystery thriller, and that is Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. This takes place following 3 different stories, one in the present where one recently is let out of prison, then in the past where we find this kind of tumultuous relationship, and as the relationship is ending, it leads up to this murder that occurs with her best friend, and also trying to figure out exactly who killed her friend while also knowing that it is not her ex-boyfriend. It sounds super intriguing. The cover is gorgeous. It has been on my list for a hot minute, but again, forgetful. And I also don't peruse the murder mystery section as often as I should. So that's that for you. But yeah, I'm super excited to get into this book. I'm hoping to pick it up sometime this year just because I would like to expand my repertoire of Filipino authored novels, which I think I'm getting there. I'm slowly building it up. But that is it for the books by Filipino authors that you can obviously pick up this coming month for AAPI month. If you guys have read these books or want me to pick up any of these books for May and read them and do a review, please let me know in the comments down below and I'll be more than happy to do that for you guys. But until next time, hit like, subscribe, comment, and if you guys have any questions, concerns, or whatever, let me know. Social medias are down below, comments are down below. But until next time, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys next week for whatever videos I have planned. Bye!